Meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so the first thing on the agenda tonight is the SB Spark Awards. SB stands for Exceptional Student Performance this year. This award is given to students who are doing well academically and have an exceptionally positive attitude about school. They demonstrate respect and responsibility towards staff and their peers. They show courage by not conforming to peer pressure and refuse to accept anyone who bullies. The school board and the district want to recognize these students by celebrating their success at the beginning of the board meeting. Students will receive a certificate, have a chance to come up and meet one of the board members, and your name will also get entered into a drawing at the end of the school year for, in the past, it's been an iPad or a Chromebook or something like that. So just a way to recognize you students and the good things you're doing. So Dale Keene is going to be handing the awards out tonight, so I'll bring him up and he can do that.
When everybody gets all handed out, we'll have you come back up and do our pictures. Okay. First one from the high school, Grace Gardner. Second one, also from high school, Davey Lawrence.
Good job, Dana.
Congratulations. From the junior high, Sawyer Anderson. Also from the junior high, Audrey Liver. Come on up. Okay. From Foster, Kaylee Hogan. Also from Foster, Ryan Laird. Brian. Hawthorne, Levi Luke. There you go. Also from Hawthorne, Henry Harris.
Yeah.
Good job. Holly, Kendall Jackson. From Okites, Gabe Sanders.
Game.
Good job. From Okites, Sophia Rojas Roebuck. From Charter School, Ricky Nicholson. And last but not least, from the Charter School, Carson McKay. Now, we'll get you all, we'll come back up and line up, get a picture.
Shorter ones in the front.
Yeah, face.
Don't let that high schooler get right in front of you.
All right.
No.
Kenny, come up here, buddy.
All right, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3.
You guys are done. You guys can go back to your seat.
Thank you.
All right, we do recognize this is a school night, so we won't be offended if you want to take your kids and go home. You're welcome to stay if you want.
And then there was none.
All right, we do have a revised agenda in front of us tonight. What did we add there? The 5C?
Yes.
Is that the one? Okay,
Yes.
so we added 5C, approve the hire of Lisa Latham, Foster Elementary Principal for the remainder of the school year. So would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
And we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll move on. Student personnel reports, certified and classified reps. I see Steve here. Come on up.
Hey, first I want to tell you guys thanks, for Board Appreciation Month. And I know what it's like to serve. You get to take a lot of the heat a lot of times. And I remember when I first came into my position, it was during COVID. And you remember people lining up, and it was, all the board's fault for causing COVID. And you guys, some of you were part of that, and some of you are new to the board since, but I do appreciate you guys serving. And it is it's to serve like that is honorable, and I appreciate it. No one gripes about people that sit at home and watch TV a lot. Some people that are coming and putting in their time for other people. So thank you for that. We're winding down to the first end of our term. I think things are going very well. Came back off of Christmas break. We haven't had any ice storms or anything like that yet, so that's good. I will tell you that as we went into break, and I don't know what it looked like at the other schools, but it had to be much like when we did at the beginning of the school year with when was it when we did the kindergartners and the seniors? That was at the beginning of this year. Yeah. The sweatshirts in the community sweatshirts. Holy cow. When I gave those to my class, my homeroom, that was a pretty cool thing. And then when the kids got their notes, their handwritten note from staff members, you know, because we wrote them those notes. But for the community to do that, that is incredible. To give every student in our district a sweatshirt. That's very cool. And you see them, you see the kids wearing them to school, you know, they're in my class. But at the high school, we got to champion some kids. And so, you know, I went down and I picked several, and you wrote them a note, you wrote them a card. And when they got those cards, it was really cool to see kids get that card. And when I have freshman homeroom and they're reading them and they're going, oh my God, you know, oh my gosh, I can't. And so that's pretty cool. So, but I know that we served a lot of kids in this community and helped them have a good Christmas. I gotta see some of this community, you know, take care of some people that I watched. Some of our teachers that took there's a hard situation for a family. And I had a teacher reach out to me because I knew the family and I knew the kid, and they just grabbed a bunch of other 4 or 5 other teachers and they put together a Christmas for them. And I thought that's just really cool what we do in this community. So, but we're getting ready to wind into our term, end of the term. I'm looking forward to the end of the term. I'm not going to lie. I get to this point and you start getting ready for the end of the term. You know, I'm ready to see a few new faces and a couple different mixes, but I know that things are going well at the high school. Our unified classes are doing well too, and we've had the unified basketball team play and having an assembly for them. That was a lot of fun. But we're full on rolling in our winter sports, and you know, I looking forward to ending this term and starting another. So, do you guys have any questions or anything for me about anything that's going on? I'd love to answer questions. I know we're going to be coming together at some point and start talking about the next contract. So all we want is just a whole bunch of money and see what you can do for us. No, I know we'll work together on it, and we'll work with you guys on it. So if you have anything, I emailed all you guys a link to a YouTube link. It's a video that Ramil Malabago made documenting our outside workout. It's a very cool video. You're going to want to watch it. Kind of see where it describes where it started, what we do. It's what we do. You know, some of you have seen pictures of it. Some of you have had children involved with it. So, you know, and but there's a video that he made that's pretty cool. So, but all right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. See you.
I don't see Velma here, but I want to make sure there isn't anybody from the classified that is here to. Okay. Student report. We have a new student rep here tonight. You want to introduce yourself and then go from there?
Hi, I'm Victor. I'm the vice president of the student body. Want to start by thank you guys on behalf of the team. It means a lot to us. I'm trying to help the student voice out there, and we just really appreciate you guys who make our learning. So thank you. I was going to start by giving a quick rundown of events that we had, and then I'll get into some stuff that's coming up soon. We just finished our winter formal. We had 185 kids out, which is pretty big for winter formal. We had a whole year at the end of the semester with kids in grade that it was a really stellar event this year. So that was really good. Ms. Redor talked about unified basketball. We had the pleasure to go recycle for that, where we got everyone outside of a 7th period, and we got to go and cheer for them. And it created a really memorable. We also have the pleasure to welcome another team tomorrow, a home game very interesting. So I'm looking forward to attending that as well. I believe that one of my peers may have mentioned it, but we are currently in the middle of a leadership lecture series put on by Mr. Rosa. He brings leaders from our community and we all go sit in the library and we learn. It's a pretty awesome experience. It's amazing to see the outside perspective and see how many people have their hands in our community and just see how that affects us as a school, but also how it affects us as a whole. So, tomorrow we have Police Chief and City Manager, Mr. Austin, coming in, and he's going to give us a rundown of what he's currently doing. So I'm very excited about that. Like Mr. Thorpe said, we are coming to the end of the term, which means there's a lot of morale that is being boosted. Our counselors have been amazing. They've set up posters all around school, just encouraging students, and it's just lovely. We also have May Week coming up that we are already starting to plan for, and so that's exciting as well. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And make sure you grab some pizza.
Oh, you're not staying for the whole meeting?
Yeah, you want to go do our trigonometry homework? And
Good answer.
I would do it. I can't guarantee it'd be great.
You really can get some pizza.
All right, superintendent's report. Terry, I'll turn it over to you.
I'm gonna move this in some of the ways. I thought it looked pretty good there. Let me see how you are. Okay. Enrollment. 2,196. As we look across the schools, there's a difference of one at Hawthorne. The other schools you see there remain the same. Junior high 352 versus 355. Big change at the high school, which we do see this time of year. A lot of 10-day drops where if students don't show up for 10 days, we have to legally drop them from enrollment. A good number of them do re-enroll. So that number kind of ebbs and flows. We did have a few that did complete early graduation. 2 that transferred out and 1 that went homeschool. So that's the enrollment side. On attendance, and they're not here tonight. I don't see Josh, probably at basketball. Holly was our winner with 88%. So congratulations to Holly. School board recognition, you have a certificate there from the district office. We certainly appreciate you, all of the work that you put in. What can be a thankless job that's on behalf of the students. So we thank you for that. There's also a sign out here. And I see the Foster bags and such. So Lisa, did you want to say anything about that? The goodies from Foster?
Thank you.
Okay, Lisa Latham, our new principal at Foster. So thank you for that.
Speech.
Yeah.
And then for our strategic plan, outstanding achievement, it started in special ed and spilled over into our CTE programs. So Brian and Ralph, if you could come forward, please.
I'll give you the good shot.
Ralph and I are going to talk a little bit about CTE, career technical education. Kind of started in about a month ago in December. I was going to say we had the pleasure of having ODE visit, but I don't know that pleasure is still right. Other words come to mind before pleasure, but ODE sent a team and they hung out with us for 3 or 4 days. One of the things that they were really impressed with is just the inclusion of our kids with disabilities. The three things they really talked about, they got to see a unified basketball game. Have y'all been to a unified basketball game yet? If you haven't, make sure you do. What time's the game tomorrow? 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock tomorrow at home. I think Lebanon. If you haven't been to a game, it's great stuff. It's really good. Second thing they talked about, Steve kind of talked about it, something new this year. We have a unified math class and unified science class. So half the students are students with disabilities, half the students are kind of peer tutors, and that's gone really well. And then the third thing is they were really impressed with how many students with disabilities participate in our CTE classes, and Ralph can talk a little bit more about that here shortly. They were so impressed that they asked us to present last week at the Oregon. Every month, all of the SPED directors in the state of Oregon have a monthly meeting. They asked us to present, so Ralph and I and Luke and Robin Lindsay, our transition coordinator, who's involved in this too. She also presented. Some of the things that Ralph's going to talk about, I think I have enough copies if you want to pass that one. One of the things that I kind of looked into before we presented last week, I went to the site. Oregon has a CTE state plan. It's 30 pages. I'm not really going to go through this, but if you look at page 2, in the green box, it kind of really gets to the heart of what Ralph and I are talking about as far as our students with disabilities be involved in the career tech program. You know, in the green box, one of the goals that the Oregon Department of Education CTE plan talks about is really getting our underserved and marginalized populations to participate. So, you know, part of that group is our students with disabilities. Robin talked about it. She was in a statewide transition meeting, and she was amazed at how many district transition specialists said, we have a terribly hard time getting our students with disabilities to participate in career tech programs. And I think probably the biggest thing is maybe the safety. You know, the first thing that they talked about is, well, safety. You know, we're worried that a student with disabilities operating a chainsaw or, you know, whatever the case is. So according to ODE, we're way ahead of the game as far as how many students we have participating. Just overall inclusion within the high school and specifically CTE. So I'll let Ralph kind of talk about what high school.
In the little just in the front, it talks about what career technical ed is, and then the programs that we have that we're looking at: ag science, manufacturing, which is our welding, forestry program, forestry natural resources, and then agriculture construction. Agriculture construction, and we look at the licensure, basically looking at woods and small gas engines or power mechanics, as we call it in the ag world. And so when we talk to the ODE folks, or the state directors meeting, a lot of it comes down to the people that you have. I mean, that's the bottom line. And the people that we have working in our teachers are very, very welcoming to all the kids. And so I talked a little bit to our counselors, and what they look at is, what are the kids forecast for? So we try to get the kids classes, they get them into those classes. And that works really well. Except that at times we'll have, if kids in the basic life skills class, we may have an assistant that goes to the class. But then when we're looking at trying to get the credits the student needs to graduate, it may be that we have a block of students in another class, an English class. And so we, and the counselor or someone, you have to take the assistant out because we don't have an indefinite number of assistants and put it in that place where we have more kids. If that happens, at times they've had to move a schedule around for students. So we have a thing called Measure 98. Measure 98 is it's funds from the state, but it's geared toward graduation, college going culture, CTE, dropout prevention. So with what our CTE teachers, they said we would really love to have an assistant that's dedicated to our programs. And that way, if today's Zach's running chainsaws, we can have an extra set of eyes in the chainsaw world. If we're doing something that we need an extra set of eyes in one of the other, that person can bounce back and forth. So we hired a person, we did it on it's a temp position, because we want to see how that would go. And so far, it's been really going well. And OD really liked that.
Yeah, OD was
That we actually, because they're not a SPED assistant, they're a CTE assistant who happen to help all the kids who are in there, but special education kids are what we were kind of looking toward. So the things that we have, there's a picture, there's a CTE programs and Sweet Home support. You've got the page, and we don't have a page number, but it's got a kid, and if you don't know what he's doing there, he's choker setting. He's got a little orange helmet on in one of your pages. So the cool thing about that is every one of these stories, they're real people, right? So this mom, so dad and 3 of the kids came to see, this was a state competition last year. The boy went state competition, didn't win any prizes, right? But he got to compete, he got to throw the axe, and he was doing choker set for the first time. And his mom's like, you have these parents calling you, and they're almost in tears, go, Ralph, my kid loves being in Zach's class, and he loves this. He's great. And he's a kid that our teachers say, on it, you know, and those are the things that ODE or whoever are counting the things wherever, those are the real life stories. Those are the parents that call us, and they're thrilled about what we're doing with their kids. Success stories, Robin talked about a student that attended Woods as a freshman, learned the skills necessary to build planter boxes, and then basically came back and taught some of the other kids how to use those tools safely to build some planter boxes. They have, if you go to our outside our BLS classroom, we have some planter boxes around. The 2024 graduates furthering the small engine repair skills, working on small engines, but he also has it's like basically looking at skills he'd learned in basically repairing mowers, repairing small gas engines, and he's looking at maybe having his own business. Another kid, current junior, goes through welding classes. He started purchasing equipment last year for his own basically lawn care business. So part of the thing that we look at is that the kids are learning some skills that are real life skills that will serve them better serve them when they get outside of school. We have the different picture. We have just different kids that are there. Cool thing today, and I didn't have a chance to tell Brian this yet. I get a call from a kid, Mario Uribe. So I'm old, and I've been doing this for about 32 years. So Mario's a young man now. He's probably 30 something or maybe close to 40. He was one of my students at Mac High. He's now the principal of Mac High. He was the first Latino vice principal, and then first Latino principal of our school. Mac High had about 50–60% Latino population. So Mario calls me and says, Ralph, Aaron Duff, who was another one of my teachers, happened to be an ag teacher, is now the superintendent. It's when you're old, you know all these cool people. So they told him, Mario, call Ralph, because we saw him on this thing with his director. And he said, Ralph, he said, how are you getting some of the kids in there? So I was able to talk to a young man who was one of my kids at Mac High. And we were able to talk about how we're getting some kids in and throw some ideas around. That was really kind of made the day. So, as you guys all know, Sweet Home is one of the best places in the world to be. And I'm always proud of our teachers. Every kid is important. And so when OD is telling us stuff like some of the fancy schools, I don't want to mention any names, Eugene, other place like that, but that have trouble getting kids with special needs into some of the classes, we just do it. And so, like I said,
And I think I think Luke, you talked about it. Not only you gave a percent, but just when we have our students with disabilities, the more involved they are in like career tech, graduation rates for that population greatly increased. And I think that's, a big thing about what we're talking about. And like Ralph said, the fact, ODE goes into lots of schools, the fact that they said, we're doing this right and we're doing this better than others.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Questions?
I like the collaboration with the other.
Yeah. They work together, and we have a great CTE group that works together. A lot of youngsters in there that are working together and it's, and like I said, they love kids and they love the CTE world. And like I said, every kid that's in our school, they're all our kids and they all have that philosophy, I think. So it's just, you know, it's a good place to be.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nice that ODE recognized great practice here in Sweet Home and had us present. When we were talking earlier about things that keep students in school, just as co-curricular, you know, sports and such do, so does CTE. Very strong relationship there. So the basketball that's tomorrow, if you have any way possible to see it, I encourage you to do so. It will lift you up, renew your faith. You will leave feeling refreshed and with a smile. It is like a gift that you can give to yourself. The way the kids play, the other team will rebound the ball and give it to the shooter to let them shoot again. And everybody, not just, you know, everybody is cheered for. I was able to go to the game that we had when ODE was here. And there was one little cruncher. I was amazed that they could get it up to the hoop, but they did and scored points. About the size, seemingly about the size of my grandson, but it's really, really worthwhile. So
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock here, First Lebanon, yep. If there's any way you can do it, it's a great thing to do. I really encourage you to do so. So with that, that concludes my presentation.
Quick question on attendance. So we had some kids out sick, like with whatever wiped out half of the community. That is affected by that too. Kids that miss 10 days of school, that's gonna take it on that attendance.
If it's a 10-day drop,
Okay.
yeah, we have to.
The some were out for.
Yeah, long sickness.
Yeah.
So a 10-day drop, even if they have an excused medical absence, it doesn't matter if they're not physically in school for 10 days.
That's my understanding. 10 days in a row,
Hmm.
they have to be dropped. Any other questions? Okay,
Thanks, Derek. Next, we have the consent agenda. Approve the minutes from the December 9 school board meeting, accept the resignation from Richard Smithson, tech ed teacher at the high school effective June 30, 2025, and approve the hire of Lisa Latham, Foster Elementary principal for the remainder of the 24-25 school year.
So I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there any discussion on asking a question?
Yeah, so we got a motion and a second. Now we can discuss it. Yep.
Get out of turn.
Yeah.
So on the item C, we've got some turnover out of Foster. I just wondered what the fiscal impact of the moving around. We got Darren at the junior high now, I believe. How's this affect?
It's negligible. We were paying for a principal. We still are.
So we're not paying a teacher, we're not still paying Darren principals.
I'm not gonna speak about specific individuals because in board meetings, we're expressly forbidden from doing so.
Okay.
But to answer your question, we remain status quo.
Any other discussion?
I guess I have a question. So remainder of the year. So is this something that we're with intentions of hoping for the following year? Or-
The individual we were able to draw in came out of retirement to help us out.
Oh, okay, understood.
And so while everybody is very happy and would love to see that, that's.
Okay.
We have the position posted, which if she would like to apply, she can. We would welcome that. But the position is posted now. So we'll start reviewing candidates later this month.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, motion is to pass the consent agenda. So all in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Budget update, Kevin.
This is an item 6A in the board practice, first budget update, year-to-date spending between December 31st, we're at just over $746,000 compared to the same time period last year. We're now halfway through our fiscal year. Primary reasons for that would be higher labor costs, both from higher salaries, plus this year we have more filled positions than we did last year.
Am I correct in reading this that overall we're at 35.9% to the budget?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and keep in mind, for licensed salaries, we pay through July and August, we pay 3 months in June, and so typically at this time of year, even though we're halfway done, most of our spending occurs in the second half of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, it's hard to read these line items. Do you see, we've talked before about an upward trend in insurance premiums. Is that something that's continuing as a curve kind of? I mean, is it staying on the same trajectory as it's been under?
So are you talking property and liability
Yeah,
insurance? I would expect that to continue, for property insurance in general, like, even though we're insured statewide, there are companies that kind of insure the insurers that are nationwide and worldwide. And so, even when I see what's happening in Southern California, that includes some schools, those are things that are probably going to impact the overall insurance market going forward. And so where, lots of costs have been growing by 3, 4, 5% per year, insurance has been increasing at, around double-digit percentages. In all likelihood, that very well may continue.
And the PERS.
PERS is another, it's something, I mean, keep in mind what we're looking at right here is a snapshot of where we're at right now and what's happened earlier this year. Looking into the future, definitely some things on the expenditure side to watch, PERS being a big one. And then also on the revenue side, when Terry was going over the enrollment report, we can look at where we are this year compared to prior years. And that's something we need to be watching also.
Have you heard anything legislatively about the adjustment of the formula yet?
There are some proposals regarding special education in particular. At this time of year, there are lots of proposals, and so we'll just have to watch and see what happens. One of those would be to increase. Right now, the state limits school districts for additional special education funding to 11% of your enrollment, and then there is a waiver where you can get a little bit extra. And so that kind of penalizes districts that have serve high percentages of special education students. And we're definitely in that group, so we'll be watching that closely. But then there's another proposal to increase funding for what's called the high cost disability grant for students that cost over $30,000 per year on an individual basis, special education costs. What's interesting about that, though, is you look at the districts that benefit from that grant the most, and they tend to be the most affluent districts. I'll use Lake Oswego as a perfect example. Lake Oswego as a local option levy, they pay their teachers more, which allows them to spend more per student. In addition, they have a lower overall percentage of special education students as far as a percentage of their total student population. And so when you take like a special education director and divide his or her salary over the number of students, it's not as watered down as a district that serves a larger percentage of special education students. And so they actually get districts like that really benefit from that high cost disability grant. And so right now, that though is one of the proposals is to see that get increased, and that would, if that happened, it would benefit the Lake Oswego's way more than it would benefit the Sweet Homes. And so, we'll continue to watch that as well.
So push on the homeless also.
Yeah, it's something that it would be nice, homelessness is not a factor in the state school fund for me. And, as a district that serves a high percentage of homeless students, it would be nice to see someone advocate for that. It's interesting too, the way the state measures poverty. It's from the US Census Bureau small area income poverty estimate. And if you take the census just released the latest information. And so if you take all the school districts in Oregon with 1,000 or more students, Sweet Home had the fourth highest poverty percentage reported this past year. Yet when you look at the funding formula, poverty is really a relatively small component of the funding formula compared to some other factors. And so, yeah, it would be wonderful to have someone advocate, yet there was a recent news article that mentioned that apparently when governors first get elected, they go to like governor boot camp. And one of the things they're told is don't mess with your state school fund formula because it'll just make a lot of enemies. And so, no one seems to be in a rush to really champion this, but it's a relatively high poverty, high homeless student, high special ed school district. It's something that, it sometimes feels that, our students maybe aren't getting the same funding that some students in other communities are receiving. Okay, on that note, want me to move on?
Yep, go ahead with the audit report.
You mentioned that's like sitting here feeling powerless. Like, it'd be great to be an advocate. We have that type of power as a board. Yeah.
And I will say too, State Representative Jamie Cade has done an outstanding job advocating for our district. And so definitely give her credit. And, it's just keep in mind too, there are people, the Senate Majority Leader happens to be from Lake Oswego. There may be a reason Lake Oswego seems to do well in the formula. But with that said, Lake Oswego, if you've been watching the news, is facing a multi-million-dollar shortfall for next year too. And so, it's even though, they get funded well, they're looking at shortfalls for next year. So just something to keep in mind.
We've always been pretty good at doing the moral class.
Right.
As long as, there's a history, we've always done more with less. And that's kind of feather in the cap. It'd be great to have them, but just because you have them doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna do better.
Well, and I would certainly say, when you look at our teachers, our classified staff, our principals, across the board, they do an outstanding job with the resources that are available serving our students. And I think that's why we choose to be here in Sweet Home. It's a great community.
Thanks.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, next audit report. We have right here, lots of information, kind of a one-page summary followed by the audit report and financial statements for the district. We also have a booklet that is a communication to the school board from our auditors. And finally, we have the student activity funds financial statement. The key takeaway is that the auditors issued a clean opinion on the financial statements with no reservations. So that's exactly what we're shooting for. Brian Thompson with Polly Rogers, our auditor, plans to be here by Zoom for the February board meeting. And so that would be a great time. If you have any questions, concerns, comments that you would like, or just things that you would like to talk about with the auditor, they'll be here for that. But definitely look through this. If you have any questions for me too, let me know. But you know, the good thing overall, we're in good financial position as of June 30th, 2024.
Okay, any questions for Kevin? All right, next we have action items. Just have approved the 2025 to 2027 LBL ESD local service plan. So that's this. Right here. Terry, do you want to kind of go through maybe some highlights on that?
Jason Hay was here from LBL ESD, spoke with us. There's tier 1 and tier 2. Remember that tier 1 is the things that we all get, superintendents, vote on that. And so that's something that all of the school districts get. And then tier 2 is more of a menu, things that we select. A lot of the things that you will see are more like specialists that we wouldn't necessarily be able to attract here. And that's going from, you know, like every year, I think for the last several weeks, we've posted for speech pathologists. And we haven't been able to hire any, and so that's a service that we contract through the ESD. They provide that for us. Corvallis doesn't have that problem. They're just in a little, you know, little different area than what we are. So some of the behavior specialists, speech pathologists, some of those different services are typically what you will see that we get served through the ESD on.
Is this gonna be changing? I remember voting on it. Did we vote here?
Yes.
Are we saying menu items, checking the same boxes?
Yes, a
Probably
lot of what we do is repetitive.
Probably with a slight increase, I'm assuming, like, if I read a menu item this year.
Motion to approve the LBL ESD local service plan.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing no discussion. Motion is to approve the 25-27 LBL ESD service plan. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. We haven't received any public comments tonight. Do we have any board comments?
Thank you, Foster Elementary.
Yes, thank you. Apply, no pressure.
All right, we have no. We have no late items, so future agenda items. Next board officers meeting is Thursday, January 30th at 3:30 in the superintendent's office. Oak Heights remodel visit. That's this flyer right here for everybody. Monday, February 10th at 5 to 6:15, kind of an open house opportunity to go through and see the improvements there. So next board meeting is Monday, February 10th at 6:30 here in the boardroom.